Let us continue in Revelation chapter 14. Again, let's remember that Revelation chapters 12 through 14 contain prophecy regarding the past, the present, and the future, providing additional details of events leading up to the return of the Lord Jesus Christ on earth. Revelation chapter 14 verses 1 through 5 records what John saw regarding the events taking place in heaven. Let's continue in chapter 14 and verse 1. John writes, "And I saw," or I perceived, "and look, behold, a little or a small lamb," referring to the Lord Jesus Christ, "having stood and still standing down on a mountain of Sion," or Mount Zion, "the hill named Sion, which is the place where God dwells and proclaims his salvation and pronounces his judgment." So John sees the little lamb, the Lord Jesus Christ, having stood and stayed standing on the mountain of Zion, and he was with him were 144,000 people from every tribe of the sons of Israel, who were sealed in Revelation chapter 7 verses 2 to 8. And that was, of course, prior to the opening of the 7th seal of the book by the little lamb. So we see the Lord Jesus Christ, the little lamb, standing on the mountain of Zion with 144,000 people, having his name, the Lord Jesus Christ's name, and the name of his Father, the only true God, written on their foreheads. That's the area visible between the eyes, visible to everyone looking at their faces, identifying and designating these people as belonging to the only true God and to the little lamb, and living within their authority. "And I heard a sound, a voice coming from heaven, in comparison to the sound of a lot of water." You know, that would connote strength and power in motion or moving forward. "And in comparison to the sound of a large amount of thunder, rolling or rumbling, and the sound which I heard in comparison to lyre players," or those people playing lyres or harps, stringed instruments. "And the 144,000 people sang a new song." That word "song" from the Greek word could also be translated as ode, and refers to a song being sung in celebration and thankfulness. It could be for a special occasion or a battle or a harvest. It connotes triumph and victory. And that word "new" from the Greek word "new," it means it's newly made and different compared to an old song previously in existence. And of course that would be compared to Moses' song regarding redemption and salvation from Egypt. You could look at Exodus chapter 15 for that. So this song that the 144,000 people are singing is a new song, and they're singing in the sight and presence of God's throne, and in the sight and presence of the 4 living beings, referred to Revelation chapter 4 verses 6 and 7, and in the sight and presence of the elders, referred to Revelation chapter 4 and verse 4. "And not one person was continuing to be able, or they were not capable to learn the song, to become informed of it intellectually, except those 144,000, the people who were bought and remain bought away from the earth, so the price was paid for them." These, of course, were purchased by the Lord Jesus Christ for God, and they are living on the earth at this time, could look back at Revelation chapter 7, verses 2 to 8. And these are the people who were not soiled. They didn't become filthy, muddy in their behavior as a dirty garment. They were not soiled with women, for they were virgins. They did not fornicate with those who worship idols. And they are people following the little lamb. They're coming after the little lamb, the Lord Jesus Christ. Wherever he would go, so they would go with him. And they were bought away from the men, that is, from the rest of mankind on the earth at that time. And these 144,000 are the firstfruits offering, the beginning portion, which is consecrated or dedicated to God. They're not the only part, but they are the first point, or the first part of the whole to God and to the little lamb. And in their mouth a lie or a falsehood. They were not uttering those lying statements in connection with idolatry. So the lie was not found, and they were without blemish, unblemished, no fault to be found because of some defect or spot, in them, as though they were damaged. Now, when we read about lie, of course we know that the devil's or Satan's lie is that he is God. And as such, he is the one who gives and maintains life, etc. to all, and he must be worshipped. That's what the devil wants. This lie began in Genesis chapter 3, and it continues being repeated throughout the centuries by the devil and those who decide to follow the devil. This, of course, is idolatry, practicing the rites and rituals of worship and service to gods, but not the true God. Continuing in chapter 14 and verse 6. Let's note that from verse 6 to verse 20 of chapter 14, they pertain to effects or events taking place on earth as a result of and corresponding to the events which took place in heaven. John previously saw effects or events that took place in heaven. Now we're going to see the result on earth. Let's look at verse 6. John writes, "And I saw," or I perceived, I knew with my mind, "another angel." Now this is not the seventh angel referred to in Revelation 11:15. But this was another angel. That's why he writes the word another. So I saw an angel, another angel, who was flying in motion in mid-heaven. So he was straight above John in the zenith, looking straight up where the sun is at noon, on the meridian, having the eternal good message. So this angel up in heaven was holding the gospel or the evangel, that age-long or everlasting good message. It lasts throughout all durations of life, all ages from the time that it was first made known. Of course, that was when God created mankind. Verse 7 details what this good message contains. So the angel, having the eternal good message, why would he have it? So that he could good message or gospelize, evangelize down on the peoples who are sitting down on the earth, those people who were, as it were, sitting on the earth. In other words, they were stationary. They were not moving from where they were at, unless another would come and give them the opportunity to get out of the stationary position that they had. So we'll see the opportunity coming from this angel who had the eternal good message.